What's going on, guys? It's Joey LeBons here. Kind of an exciting day. I'm starting my journey on getting started with Warhammer 40,000. I got the get starting. This is the middle. There's one smaller that comes with just a squad of Space Marines and then a little squad of the Gaunts. So starting this off, outside of it looks actually really good. Let me move the camera a little bit. There we go. So again, it's coming with the Space Marines. It's coming with Terminators. You get a captain. Just a bunch of cool stuff on here. Tyranid Prime. The Von Ryan Leapers, which are really cool looking models. But yeah, I think I'm mostly excited about the Terminators. So you get 5 Terminators and you get a captain in Terminator armor. So it's like pretty good core because I want to start doing Space Marines, but also I really like the bugs. Like the psychophage that's inside of here. That thing is so sweet. So let's open it on up and see what's it like inside. Alright. For the first time. Alright. I can do this without dropping, so there's nothing inside. Really cool box art though. I like that a lot. Where to start? So top, Terminator sprues, and they're snapped together. If you can kind of see like the backs of the legs and all that kind of stuff, they're snapped together. So that's going to be interesting. Gonna have to figure all that out. Comes with some bases, really cool. And they have like the peg ones. So you just have to put the foot inside of the little peg hole that's on there. If you can see, yeah, you can see the little holes in the sprue bottom. So that's cool. Oh, this is the dice, little dice thing. That's cool. We got some gaunts, and then you get 1 sprue for every 10 gaunts. You get a sprue of rippers. I think you might get 2 inside of this one. Do you get 2? You do get 2. So you get 2 ripper swarms, which is cool. So gaunts and rippers. And then here are the Von Ryan Lictors. I really like these models. They look nice, clean. If you guys can see, I'm just trying to hold my hand up on there. It's actually nice the way GW did all that. It looks good. This thing right here is what I was waiting on. The Psychophage. I really like this model. I was excited. This is probably the first one I'm going to build. The big boy first. Here's my Space Marine sprue. They're so easy. They are, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a head in a backpack. So 5 essentially. 5 things to build a whole entire Space Marine. I really like that. So I've heard mixed reviews on these. Like sometimes you have to like do a little finagling with sanding just to get them to snap in correctly. The Terminator Captain is sick. He's already got a cool base, and it has like a dead Tyranid on it. Bless me. But anywho, yeah, this is gonna be a really cool set. Here's the Tyranid Prime. Know what he is? Yeah, Tyranid Prime. So yeah, this is going to be a really cool set. I'm excited about this. Really, really cool. What else came in here? So it came in with, what are these? Markers, maybe? I guess these are hit markers. Something. Hit markers. Oh, wow. So really cool. And it shows Chaos against Space Marines on here. And then on the back is just a Hive Tyrant over top of all the little gaunts and a warrior and that kind of stuff. This is really cool though. They got a big old dreadnought in the back there. But yeah, not bad at all. Let's see. More stuff in here. Not sure what this is. It's probably just to space it out so it doesn't scratch. Oh. Here is... Oh, this is the book. So this is what I wanted to see, what this was going to be like. So this is the rule book. Oh, it's got, all right, let's look at these first. So these are your reference sheets for what all the characters do and all that kind of stuff. And you could read your rules on it. So if it says like, you know, the saves, wounds, all that kind of good stuff. Abilities, angels of death, what you have to do to get that like attack sequence. So first, you know, on there, like on new players, it's starting off, which this is what I was looking for is so on their turn, each player should follow the following phases: movement phase, shooting phase, charge phase, and fight phase. And it goes over how everything's rolled. Strength is twice or more. That, like, it talks about like wound rolling and all that kind of good stuff. So that's what I was really looking for. That's really cool. Okay. And then it goes into, let's see. Yeah, it talks a lot about all the other stuff on here. This is really cool. 1 wound, 5 wounds, 10 wounds. The psychophage has 10 wounds. That is a lot. Captain only has 6. Tyranids are strong. Now looking into the rule book, I want to move this down just a skosh so we can all look kind of together. It feels really nice, has nice picture and all that kind of good stuff. So I'm definitely happy with that. A little bit further down. Looks good. So it does, it, you know, it has everything already painted up and all that kind of stuff, which is fine. But obviously I need to do painting and stuff like that. And it goes over talking about it's a universe at war, and then it kind of goes into what all is going on. A little backstory on, you know, Space Marines fighting the infestation of the Tyranids and all that. Talks about how to build. So you'll go into how to build. And it kind of goes into the overview of all the models and all that. What it is, like a Terminator's a veteran. So kind of cool stuff. And then finished models. Then it goes into the Space Marines. Talks a little bit about them. All the different stuff. You know, how you have all the 1,000 chapters. How every Space Marine owes allegiance to a chapter, which they're independent. You know, you can pick any different one. I like how you get to see their banners and stuff. You know, the basic Ultramarines, Blood Angels, White Scars, Imperial Fists, Iron Hands. They don't have Space Wolves on there, which is interesting. I guess it's because they're a little bit more niche than what you would normally pick. Then it goes into the Tyranid, the Great Devourer, all that kind of good stuff. Really good looking models, though. And talks again. Tendrils of the Hive. They have Leviathan, Behemoth, Gorgon, Kraken, Kronos. Kronos actually looks sick with the red. The red with the black, kind of like silvery. That looks cool. I like Gorgon also with the green skin and the white. Behemoth is really cool. I think Leviathan is just like your original, like what they show on here with the purple. And let's see here. Move it back up on me so we all can look. It goes over like the basics with the dice. A funny thing on here is they have like the 3D renderings from whenever they first did it. So that's kind of funny. They probably just like 3D printed these out, and then that was like what they used. So that's kind of funny. Just kind of goes into like what you'll need, the basics, you know, a game like no other. Talks about a few, you know, you just really need the dice and the models. And then it talks about a training scenario, breathe flesh and steel. So this is like an initial, if you just want to like start a mission really quick, like the captain versus the psychophage, and you just battle it out real quick. And it kind of goes into like how the different characters fight, like attack, The Captain Terminator has a relic weapon with an attack characteristic. A, which is the A of 5. Roll 5 dice. Each dice is your attack you are making against the psychophage. When the Cap rolls weapon skill, it's 2+. This means any roll of 2 or better have hit the enemy. Pick up the dice rolls of 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 and move on to the next step. So it goes into the wound roll. Toughness is 8, so you'll need a 5 or better to wound the psychophage. So, okay, so it's like if you... Okay, cool. So it just kind of goes into like how it actually like plays out turn by turn, which is actually very helpful. I at least find out that it's very helpful to just have that. And then they just have like some sequences where they have like characters blocked and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, only 2 can get attacked by the 2 that can see them, and the other 2 can't shoot through it because they can't see through the wall. So that's interesting also. So that's really cool. Just the different scenarios on here that they have set up. And it looks like there's 2, 3 different scenarios. And they kind of go over to all the different instances of how things like play out. Like the pile in, objective markers, that kind of good stuff. So that's actually really cool. And then it kind of goes in on the last one is a Total Warfare map where it's like you have all the models on there and all that, and you're just fighting everything. Man, what cool art though on the insides of these books. Like that's a Tyranid ship devouring a battle cruiser. It's just really cool the way they did some of this stuff. Really happy with it. That I got this. It seems like it's gonna be a fun time. Oh, I just pushed past everything. Into the void. So it just goes over different like scenarios that you can play. And it like they have different stuff where like you can make objective markers by just taking some cardboard, you know, circling one of your, like they have the little smaller ones of these bases, and they just have that. You just circle that and then you put it on. That could be your objective marker. So that's cool. Collecting Space Marines, you know, and it kind of goes into like what your next thing you probably would want to be is like buy a Librarian and Terminator armor, buy the Codex, or buy some Barb Gaunts and buy the Codex for Tyranids. So that's actually kind of cool that they give you a little bit of a thing. So my next thing would be, you know, get a Librarian, I guess, or get some maybe Barb Gaunts, depend on who I like. I'm really, really smitten with the Psychophage. I think that's such a cool model. They also say, like, you know, get a core book. How will you play? And then it just talks about like the different supplements and the epic battles. Then it goes into, you know, the combat patrols, Astra Militarum, Chaos Space Marine, Eldari, all that kind of good stuff. Well, the Eldari one on here, so this is older because these ones are obsolete. Like you don't get the Hellbrute and the Exalted with the Chaos, and you don't get the jet bikes and all that with Eldari. Okay. Then it goes into like different painting stuff. Applying transfers, which is really cool. They have a transfer sheet in here. And I like that they gave you so much for the Space Marines for all the different factions. So if I wanted to go Space Wolves or something like that, that's the way I would go. And then you have the Gilliman. That's really cool with some other guys. So it has like the Death Watch and all that kind of stuff. It says Gilliman. It has I think it's Drogo, might be his name, from the Grey Knights. And then they have some Death Watch right there. They got a Land Raider in the back. They got a I think it's a Talon or something like that. That Space Marine little speeder flyer thing. So that's cool. Really excited. You know, in the grim darkness of the future, there is only war. That's such a cool thing right there, where they have the Terminator helmet, and then I'm assuming it's the Tyranid Prime, what the face is, but I mean, it could just be a regular Gaunt. So we went over the transfers, which is really cool. It even just has like little runes and numbers and stuff like that. So if you didn't even want to do like a specific chapter, you just want to put like numbers on there, you could do that. I think I'm going to do... See, I like Space Wolves. But again, I kind of want to make my own chapter just because I've heard like other legions have better... Excuse me, hiccups. Have better like rule sets and stuff, and there's more meta things, so you could just play it at whatever. But like, I just like the look of Space Wolves. Also, my brother has a bunch of Space Wolves, and hopefully he would be willing to sell those to me. So we'll see. He has I think he has 5 left over because he got rid of a bunch. He has like 5 Terminators. He's got a pack of wolves, the Fenrisian wolves, and he has a Stormfrost or something like that, or Death Dread or something. The one with the big battle axe and the shield. So whatever that one is. But yeah, and then it came out with this, which is all right. So kind of cool. It has all the little things if you want to play like a Space Hulk, or it's even got a dead Termagant right there, which is absolutely funny. And then the other side, which is kind of anticlimactic, but it kind of gives you a way to put up whatever, is just like dirt. I don't know if you can see it, but and then the other side is clearly like a Space Hulk kind of deal, which I'll probably play on the Space Hulk one. Completely fine. And then it gives you 2 movement and charts and all that kind of good stuff, so that's kind of cool. You know, they're cheap, but you know, at the same time, it's all good. You can use these. I like how it gives you like the actual spacing of what it would be, so you know that it's like that's the movement, that's the movement, that's the movement. So if you ever did something like that, like he moved 6 and then went over 6, that's what it would be. You know what I mean? Like you can set it up like that so he'd move here, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it all plays. More bases, and then one big one. But yeah, so I'm excited. I think this is gonna be really cool. I think it was a good investment. Only paid $100, and I'm trying to think. I paid like $114 or something like that. With, of course, with the taxes. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you can go online. If you really looked on there, you could find it for like $90-something. I'm sure there's people in the comment section there and you go, oh my gosh, you overpaid for it. Well, mine was, I walked into the store here in Midlothian, Virginia. It's called Battlegrounds. Walked in, was like, hey, where's the Warhammer stuff at? And they're like, over there. And I went, picked this up, told them I'm new, and then they told me about like tournaments and when people play and stuff like that. They told me to check the website, so I'll do that. Just see if I can get in with any newer players or something. But I'm definitely again, you're basically paying $100 and you get 2 armies to start out with and learn. I think it's a pretty good deal. So I'm gonna get to some putting together. Again, first thing I'm doing is the Psychophage. I think this model is so cool and it's so big, and I'm gonna make this one first, and then yeah, I'm gonna put all this together, and then I'll see you guys whenever we're done. All right, so I have been over here making up all the Tyranids, and they are taking forever. I'm trying to grind through it, get it all built out so we can do like a grand reveal. I have, let's see here, Tyranid Prime built. Came out pretty nice. I have 1 Ripper Swarm. The Psychophage actually is probably my favorite. It's huge. It's definitely going to look really cool when it's painted up and everything. I just like how terrifying this model looks. It's got that crazy spiked tongue. It's got a Space Marine's arm right in the front there, which is like a really cool little extra detail. I'm just happy with the model all around. I think this is a really cool model. A lot of detail on here. Excited to paint that. I have 5 5 of the flamers finished up. They came out really cool. They're really nice models. I put them all with helmets. Even the sergeant has the helmet, and I have him styled like he's pulling out his blade. So he's like pulling out his blade, shooting. So that's kind of cool. I was going to put the fleshy face on there, but I decided against it. And then the final is the captain in Terminator armor. He is awesome looking. That is such a cool mini right there. Such nice detail on him. Can't wait to paint that up. And yeah, so I haven't created the Terminators or the Lictors yet. I'm just building out the bulk of the Tyranids just because I knew this was going to take forever. So that was my focus. Get all the gaunts done and then put them together. And then I'll feel like, oh, I actually completed something. So back to it. All right, so we are officially done. We got the whole entire box built. We got our Terminator captain. We got our Terminators. We got our Flamer squad. We got the 3 Von Ryan Lictors. I got to put some weights on the bottom. Psychophage, the Tyranid Prime, the Gaunts, and the Ripper squads. So tomorrow we'll be doing a short little game to see how this thing plays out. I think it was pretty good. The models look really good, especially the Terminators. I'm really happy with how they turned out. Put them in kind of a combat stance thing. The Flamers look really good. The Gaunts look really cool. The Psychophage, the Tyranid Prime, even the Lictors, you know. Sorry, they're on a bed, so they're not the best. But I'm gonna play a quick game with them tomorrow, and then yeah, then we're gonna paint them up. All right, guys, see you tomorrow. What's going on, guys? We're on day 2 now. So I got the models all primed up black. Everything came out nice. What we're gonna kind of do is I really like Kronos, the Kronos Tyranids, where they have the red and they kind of have a different skin color. I was going to go Kraken, do the white, but then I was like, no, I kind of like a darker skin on them. And I almost went with the Behemoth, where they have the red skin and then the like kind of greenish. But I think I want to do a red shell or red armor and then do it that way. So I think that's what we're going to do. And then maybe like a shimmery kind of skin, like a blue or maybe a silver almost. But just to make them look super alien-like, I think that'd be cool. And then we'll make our own hive tendril. So I think that'll be something cool. So that's what we're going to be doing. Yeah, we're going to be doing Kronos. So Hive Fleet Kronos is among the most sinister tendril of the hive mind. They are created to hunt demons and otherworld prey. Kronos bioforms tend to obliterate enemies at long range with deadly barrages. To face Hive Fleet Kronos is to be torn apart by stinging projectiles and lethal biobombs. So that's kind of like what we're going to go for with this army. But yeah, we're going to be the shooty army with the Tyranids. Yeah, so let's get painting. Tilt it down a little bit so we can see. Get my brush loaded up. And that's where we're going to start doing the shell. Just get a thin layer on here. Then we'll run it over with a second coat here in a little bit. What I like doing on this kind of stuff, larger models, is just hit the outside, get the initial line good on them, and then come back over with a second coat. So like thin coat and then come back and really come in with some color on these. And I don't use the best brush for putting on my first layer. It's kind of just like a, I want to call it thick. I think it's just something to get on here to put actual color in and get a good amount of paint on there. So we have the base layer done. I just want to make sure I get all the main edges really well. That way it's a little bit cleaner whenever I come in with the second coat, because I focused on my edges and everything and really got it. Because again, it's all we're doing is just basing right now, or the base level coat on here. And there's going to be a lot more to this model other than that once we start doing more detail stuff. But let's make sure I get everything at least covered. The main portions of it covered at least. That way when I do come in with the second coat, it all looks good. And I want them to be more of like a, I guess, alien. Like when I think of Tyranids, I always remember, like, I saw it forever ago. It was Armageddon, I believe. And it was red Tyranid, like, colors. They didn't have the purple in there. And so I just think about, like, the red with the white as, like, that's Tyranids to me. Of course, you have the High Fleet Leviathan is, like, the main, most well-known Tyranid stuff. But, like, I don't want to be, just like everyone else. Because anyone can come in with a white and purple Tyranid swarm. That's just cookie cutter, We want to have our own little unique hive strand and, not be the same as everyone else. So whenever I bring models to the store, it's not 5 people have the same. It's, oh, wow, the other 4 have, Leviathan, but mine is slightly different. And it looks a little bit cooler, a little bit more cool factor to it, because it's not just like all the rest. But yeah. Make sure I get all the surfaces red. I actually like painting the armor on these Tyranids. I think it's pretty satisfying because it's kind of easy, in all honesty. Like, Tyranid armor is fairly easy to paint. And I'm probably getting ripped in the comments like, you're painting too fast or whatever, but these are tabletop paint jobs. I'm not winning a golden demon or something. Like, obviously I would like to be able to paint like that. And I think later on I'll be taking a little bit more time. This is just like the weekend warrior setup. Like, we're getting it so we can play a game on either Saturday night or Sunday. Like yesterday, I bought it Friday night, put it all together, and sprayed it with the primer for black. And then now we're, hitting the rest. Trying to make sure we get all the edges. And so And so already putting on the thin coat, like you can see it still bleeds through with the black. So whenever I hit it with a second one, once this dries good, which this paint dries really quick, you know, so it's not that long of a painting process. I just gotta make sure I get like the initial, like in between the little weird spots covered good. So whenever I come back over to repaint this, like it actually covers the black. And yeah. One thing I need to invest in is probably a wet palette. I've seen that. But I've been just putting out a little bit of paint at a time, and I'm not, I mean, I guess it's expensive, you know, the paint, but like, I don't know. I just don't see the initial, you're just going to get into this hobby to see if you like it. And I'm not going to, I wouldn't tell anyone to go out and go buy a wet palette, go buy this, go buy that, just to see if you like it. And you might end up not even liking it. You might end up liking like an Age of Sigmar or something like that better. And I don't want you to just go out and spend a ton of money on this stuff whenever it's not what you actually want. So, but I would say make sure whenever you do this, you do a good job with all your paints. Make sure you're getting everything, you know, red that's supposed to be red, everything that's supposed to be black. Like, make sure you're taking your time. Don't just like go out here and paint everything. And look into the colors. Like I said, whenever I think of Tyranids, like I think of those old school, like the red Tyranids in the desert and stuff like that, fighting Black Templars and orcs and stuff. So that's why I went with this color. So get good with one that speaks to you. You might be doing blue and yellow. You might be doing, you know, some off color, some green. I've seen some actually really cool green ones. That I'm kind of like, dude, I almost wish I did something like that. But I mean, I really, whenever I think of Tyranids, I just think of the red. So that's what I went with, is the red Tyranids for me. That way it sticks with like my thoughts on Tyranids. They're supposed to be like a red or a purple. And I don't want to be purple like everyone else. Like at my club, every time you go in there and someone's playing Tyranids, it's purple. The Leviathan. And funny enough, they don't have to, you know, be, you know, lore specific. Like sometimes I could go in there with my red Tyranids and, you know, I can play the Leviathan rules and stuff like that and get that stuff. Like if I don't want to make this a shooty army and I want to go buy a bunch of screamers after this or whatever. So make it unique to you. Make it your own. A little bit more. And these are by Vallejo, the model color acrylics. These are pretty good. I actually got these ones for super cheap. They were $2.50. So $2.50 for this, and it's the exact red that I wanted, which is crazy. I mean, you can't particularly beat that deal. One thing I do have to say about like painting and all that is whenever you're painting, if you make a little mistake and you go over it, like I have black paint, you know? Or if you go over the skin on these a little bit, it's all right. Well, 9 out of 10 times you can just take a wiper, your finger, and wipe it, it comes off. But like, don't let that deter you from stopping and continuing and doing what you're doing, you know, and get mad like, oh man, I painted the such and such red and it's supposed to be black. Like, you can take a finer brush. Again, this is me just putting a first level on to cover up all the hard spiny kind of stuff. So make sure everything's in there good. Okay. So I got everything red that needs to be red. I need to go around the little, I guess, smokestacks on the top here a little bit better. Or biostacks, I guess you would call these. I don't know. And then you can roll right into your second layer. Sometimes it is nice to just kind of leave it like the skin came out pretty cool. It's got like darker spots, which I'm going to go over some of that, but some of that I kind of want to leave in there so it looks, you know, a little bit more warm, like it's a skin shell, not just like a lobster. When you look at a lobster, like some of those things have like weird colors. Where its skin look like the armor on it is not just a solid color. It's kind of like a foggy kind of shell looking thing. I mean, you want it to be red. You don't want it to be mainly black, bleaching through. It's a thin layer or something, but all right. I'm almost there. Almost there. And then I'll probably go over this one more time because I'm really just using up the rest of the red that I have on here just because it's going to dry out. And I'm going to, you know, I want to get some actual use out of the money that I spent so I don't have just a good amount of paint here just drying out because I was a little lazy and didn't want to finish something up. But yeah, everything's turned out pretty well on this thing, the Psychophage. And apparently this thing is like super good in the game, which I'm kind of happy with. I thought these were called queens at first, like a Tyrannifex or something. See, I'm not like huge into the knowledge or I guess the lore and models on the Tyranids. I know Space Marines pretty well, Space Wolves, some of the Black Templar, but whenever it comes to the Tyranid, I know enough that I can, know what to get next, but I haven't gone so far down the rabbit hole yet. And that's part of this journey is I just want to start out finding, like, I knew I need like a big tank kind of, bug, and then have my little Griblies. So that's the Tyranid army. It's a bunch of little Griblies, and then you got big bugs that the little Griblies are running through their feet. So, and this thing came out super cool. Again, it's wet right now, but it's coming out super cool. See how the black needs to, that's just dried. I hadn't gone over that, but like the other side where it's red, and then I'll put some other little detail up inside of there to make it look more skin-like. Yeah, but it's coming in pretty nice. Just a cool all around model. Again, I'm filming on an iPhone, so don't expect my stuff to be so, perfect. But I definitely am pretty happy with how this thing is turning out so far. And then the gaunts, I'm probably going to end up doing something with the gaunts where it's just like a little bit of red on the tops and obviously you got to paint the armor, but just red on that. Not too much on the guns. Those might just stay black. And then I might do like a dry brush, like a white. Sorry, I had the hiccups. Like a white, or I have I think it's Cadian khaki or something like that. I might dry brush underneath, or I have like a bone color, a white Vallejo bone color. Then I might just dry brush in real lightly just to get the details to show up on it. And that way they have that metal top where it's real red. And then the body is kind of that dark with like the lines, like they're real alien looking. Because we're not white, so I'm not going to put in a bunch of detail on that kind of stuff because they're the little Griblies that get blown off the board. But yeah, I'm super excited about this. The Terminators are probably my favorite part of this whole thing. I haven't seen too much about the Flamer Marines, but apparently they auto hit, so that's kind of cool. They don't have to roll. So it's just super cool. And then I'm not sure if I want to do more Space Marine just yet or more Tyranid. I definitely, like I said in the last couple videos, that my brother has some Space Wolves that he'll probably give me. And then I have another buddy that's like, dude, I thought you wanted to do some Chaos Space Marines because he's getting out of them and he wants to pretty much, it's not give away, but give away his army to me. Just because I'm starting to get into it. I'm really, really liking certain stuff. I've read a couple of the books. I even listened to a whole audiobook on the Fall Acadia. And I'm actually like super excited. Like I like the Abaddon coming in with all these other factions of Chaos, like World Eaters come in, and it's just they're killing off all these guys. Or I guess not World Eaters, Black Legion come in, and they're just killing off everyone. And then, Abaddon's, capital ship that they thought to be destroyed, the Blackstone Fortress, like that stuff is so cool to me. Where it's just this giant like planet eating ship coming in. It's so big that it's just blacking out. It looks like stars coming in, and it's all their ships. So that's just the coolest thing to me, where it just like blacks out the sun and you can only see in space. Like you can't see stars, you just see all the ships. So it's just really cool with all that kind of lore and stuff with the Black Legion. So I'm debating on what I want to make my Space Marines, what faction. I was thinking Ultramarines, and then I thought I do like Space Wolves, so I might paint them like kind of that gray blue. And then it would go on with the army my brother is going to be giving me. But again, I don't know. I was also thinking maybe I'll just paint them black or yellow. Apparently yellow is really hard to paint though, but paint them yellow. And then, the Sons of Dorn, or what are they called? The name is eluding me right now. I gotta look back up in my book. Imperial Fists. See, I think the white scars are cool. Just not gonna make them white scars. There's Iron Hands, Masters of Machinery. You got the Imperial Fist, where they're like real defense. And then you got Blood Angels. And then you have the Ultramarines, which are kind of your vanilla ones that, it's cool. I guess you could play them with anything, but that's why I kind of thought about maybe just doing like that bluish or gray, like all gray armor. Then I can use them as, different factions whenever I go in, or make my own, and do it like that. Also, I think that something would be cool is like to integrate other models from like Space Wolves, like take the Dreadnought from that and the Terminators, and then use my Terminators, and then my the Flamers, and then my Captain, and then we're kind of our own thing, where we're part, or we're a sub chapter, but we use a little bit of the rules from the Space Wolves, but some of the like Ultramarine kind of stuff, kind of my own best of both worlds chapters. But yeah, I think not super cheaty where I'm taking the best and those are the only ones I use. But yeah, I think something like that would be kind of cool. Like call them, Wolfborn, or something like that, where we can use the Space Wolves wolves. We use most of their rules, except, they don't have to use the word, Space Wolf inside of it. They can use some other, little subset thing, like steal some of the vanilla rules and roll in some of the good Space Wolf stuff with them. But yeah, so that's where we're at. We're gonna be doing this, and then hopefully I can just get a couple of these big models done, painted up with the red, and then I'm gonna play a game, and I'm gonna go through the actual game on here and all their dice rolls that they do, and just show that to you guys. I think that'd be something cool. That's gonna be it for this one. So this is the Warhammer 40,000 get started, middle ground costs you like $120, and that's with taxes and everything. You can go on to Amazon. I think they're like $100. I just like to support my local game store, so I went to my local game store, paid that $10 or $20 more, plus your with your tax on it, you paid $20 more than Amazon. It supports them. I like to go in there. I like to go talk to people. So yeah, that's where we're at, and we'll see you guys on the next one whenever we're playing. Peace out.